And welcome back. Once again, we are doing Shadow Empire. Once again, we are trying to make this planet file work for Fist-Militia-led spoiled democracy run. During the first half of this stream, well, we basically realized that one of the majors has basically run away with the game into such a state where, as a hostile militant nation on our border, that they, well, eventually did take our capital, although they hadn't really properly secured it, so on the last turn that we were playing, we technically had taken back. But that was basically a lose state. We were in a state where we were not going to be able to negotiate peace. They were going to presumably turn around and take the capital back again, and probably hold it better the second time. So we're back here. We used the last planet generated file to basically start from the beginning. Let's roll through our first couple choices here. We did enforcement on the last one. I'm going to continue trying to do enforcement. It might technically be a little bit more, given the circumstances, probably a bit more meta to go commerce. We're going to do enforcement. And again, part of the role-playing here is that we're doing Fist and Spoiled Democracy. So we run Fist here. And then Democracy. This is preparing our first turn. Nothing really should have changed from this the first one. We have 4 decisions. It's round 1. We maybe get a slightly different set of events, a slightly different set of cards. We've been given a ancient archive, and apparently we got given a propaganda assistant. So for what we're trying to do, propaganda assistant is actually somewhat useful. We are going to be hard and merciless because we are running Fist. Orgs, this time we're going to try to do foreign affairs. You might be able to get away with doing eco or military, but because we're trying to roleplay as a militia-led, and we're going to go for militia laws, we're not really going to have good professional troops anytime soon. Again, we're going to save the political power, so we're going to say ask me later here.
Affirmative.
They're offering technology. We can afford the technology, so we buy the technology. Once again we got the discovery for sealed roads provided to us. Convenient. Of our existing leaders, I want to find the one with the best charisma and capacity level. So we do have the person in the reserve. So the person in the reserve is actually the best for the job, so that works. So you are going to become my foreign affairs counselor, and hopefully going to be very rapidly negotiating peace with the neighbors. So opening up here, sort of spoilers, this is not the first time we've done this save. We know somewhat what's on our borders. I'm going to march you there because we're going to want full control over the ruins. Even while we're negotiating with the neighbors, going to go there. So we got population. And then we've got robots to the south. We want to sort of secure the area from the robots. The robots aren't going to be particularly aggressive attacking because we're so technologically backwards on the Tech 3 start. But we want to not really push against the miners to east and the west, so we don't get in our own way when we're doing the negotiations for peaceful integration. And then we are going to do propaganda assistant on who's going to be the director of the Foreign Affairs Counselor, which is our currently reserve pooled person here. On Vega. Vega beat Dawn. Vega beat Dawn. You're about to have a very important job where we try to figure out if we can, by doing things differently, sort of save the save. And that's the opening turn. So we cycle the turn. If I can negotiate a protectorate deal with the west and the east, that's really all the territory I need to open up with. Here we go, round 2, we have 5 decisions. You're offering services. You want us to get a particular hex. 195 39. We're not gonna agree to that. Sorry. National budget, I'm actually gonna go 50-50. Although we'll have the person come in charge of the org first. So you're becoming head of the org. We are going to open up with minor diplomacy, so we're going to go 80-20 on minor, major. Zone, yeah, we'll agree to help. And we'll sell off metal. Actually, no, we'll sell off rare earth metals to fund our expenditures for the month. Anyway, we'll do that. Do this one 50-50. This is going to piss off the Supreme Command Counselor, Director, but will give us an opinion boost with the Foreign Affairs one. So we got a Shadow Diplomat. We have an Offer Protection. Well, we probably need better than Offer Protection. Opening up. Well, no, we'll still wait. We probably want to get peace with them first. With the Shadow Diplomat plus the 14 there, because Shadow Diplomat I think is plus 40. A one-off plus 40. That would be plausible to roll. Okay, that's our opening position. Let's cycle the turn. Oh, actually, let's... possible laws, militia. We are doing a Fist-Militia run, which is the first one I want to do. Recruiting becomes much more difficult. Oh, I probably want to start with militia benefits. Yeah, we want to start with militia benefits, which means I need to save up another... say another 20 political power, so I need 40. Okay, cycle the turn. Okay, something similar happened to us in the previous save, but we can work with that. Round 3, we have no decisions, so it's a very boring turn. Did get a proposed peace card. Good.
Roger.
Okay, we have peace. So I now no longer need to secure the western border. Next turn we can try to follow up with offer protection. Okay. Cycling the turn. And yeah, the previous time we did... oh, we technically lost one of the ruins. That's fine, I can work with that. The previous one we technically negotiated, or we got Foreign Affairs as the second council. And for the little bit of diplomacy we're doing here, that was too late. Effectively was too late. Presumably if you're watching this on YouTube, you've watched the previous failed run at this point, so not spoiling too much by saying that. Round 4, we have one decision. Got an annexation, okay. Do you want money so that we can buy a tech from you? Sell metal.
Roger that.
That provides us the money, although it makes us a little thin. We'll sell the rare earth as well.
Roger that.
Miners. Offer protection. Already has a master. Already missed our target window there. We wanted to be the one that becomes their master. Ooh. That means they got that last turn. That's not great. I'm gonna load the autosave, because that's not good. I don't like that the AI was able to pull it off like one turn earlier than we were. Actually gotta go 2 back for that. And this is what we learned from the last one. They negotiate the protectorship for whatever reason, and then they don't follow up on it, honestly. And then inevitably get into the war. So we're going to Shadow Diplomat, and we're going to try to go... This is a gamble. We're going to go for the offer protectorship here.
Roger.
And fail. Okay, so we've probably missed our opportunity again. That's all we're going to change. Of the two, that's the easier one to do, so if we can't even get that one off, then we're not going to get a secure starting area, effectively. Because we don't have the power to expand against either of these guys. Well, we have the power to expand, but don't have the power to... Because we're trying to do militia primacy, I don't have enough professional troops to take anything. Before the other AIs run away with the game, basically.
Roger that.
Oh, and we didn't even get a diplomacy card that turn. Well, that's not great. Yeah, I think to remember, one of the AI bonuses, the AI starts with all their councils. So it doesn't take them very long if they're in the right position to do negotiations. And they're a subject already. So that's how quickly we're... What are we on? We're... round 4. The AI is reliably vassalizing those guys on round 4. And if they do that, then we're in a window where we can't do it ourselves. That's not achievable. That one's probably achievable.
Roger.
Although we don't succeed on that roll. We could go save scum a bit. We could go save scum a bit and try to roll the vassal there. You know what? I might as well. At this point, I think I question whether or not, based on what we know, spoilers about later bits in the run, whether we can even win if we don't get at least a vassalization off of one of the two of them, and that's the easier of the two. It's either that one or we're missing our timing window. Oh, I didn't go far enough back. This is after the roll. Oops. Ah, the autosave is after I do the roll. Of course it is. So I've saved the result where I don't have the card because I failed the roll. Fair enough. I'm screwing up my saves coming here. I'm gonna go all the way back to turn 1 then. End of turn 1. Again, doesn't... Other than seeing if we can get a roll off, this doesn't change much. Okay, back on round 2 again. We had this event last time. No. Read no to that. Org decision, you're in charge. Heavily focus on minor, which runs slow game speed, so even that doesn't necessarily guarantee that we get cards we want. We help the church. Sell the rare earth metals.
Roger that.
And we said this 50-50. And I suppose if we're saves coming, this is probably the turn to do it on, right? So we've got our... Oh, we rolled humanitarian aid this time, so that doesn't actually work for what I need. We're gonna at least cycle this turn. Oh, we pulled the card we need. Because yeah, if the guys of the West become a subject of another nation, like 4 turns in, then we're in the awkward state of, yeah, we can negotiate peace with them, but they're going to get invaded by the person they're negotiating that vassalage with. Partially because the AI is a bit of a dunce when it comes to diplomacy. I suspect what's being emulated there is the militarists will roll a annexation card up and will use it when they roll it. Which usually they fail, and then they're at war with their minor. Yeah, rarely negotiates peace with their minors. Oh, for client state? Okay, that's an even harder roll to pass. That's not going to work. I can attempt it, but...
Roger.
Yeah, I'm thinking that this is a,
Roger.
critical failure. Yep, no. Okay. Yeah, unless we're gonna go on full safe scum, rolling a protectorship with these guys on the west, we'll cycle the turn. We'll see how long it takes. It took them until turn 4 to vassalize them. I might just go load up the old save where we lost, so we can do a resign and see what the world looks like. Because at this point, I think this is a save. Well, playing conventionally, not knowing what I know, is gonna lead us down to the same path. Where if I'm trying to roleplay, and there comes the robots coming in from the south, so trying to play like roleplay Fist-Milita. I don't think this is necessarily a save that's going to be a planet gen that's going to be Fist-Milita playable. I think the other majors are just going to run away with diplomacy early on before we can get going with the militia. Round 4, we got 1 decision. And we got proposed peace, offer client state. You're not a subject yet.
Roger.
Although we're not getting the peace off, which makes the other stuff harder. We do want that tech, if we can get that tech. And of course the robots are being robots and annoying.
Roger that. Roger that.
Roger.
Yeah, we'll see how long it takes for them to get vassalaged. They got on the 4th turn before, and they're probably getting some same sort of time. So both us and the neighbor, both us and one of the majors share border with the guy on the west. So presumably they're west of that mod. Then our guy on the east doesn't immediately share a border with a major, but it's not far off from. And it's that major way over there that ends up basically running away with the game. Well, maybe not running away with the game hard enough to win. We didn't play out that far. There's a decent possibility the major spirals and doesn't win. But it's definitely in a situation where we're not going to be able to recover from this situation because we're pinned between 2 majors. Round 5, we got 3 decisions. Got enough for protection, and there's still. This is the 4th turn. This is when the situation. Oh, this is the 5th turn. This is usually when it's falling apart. But already at war with the major. So they're at war, so we can't do that diplomacy style with them anymore. And the one to the east, our foreign affairs counselor just needs to be significantly better. Which, by the time they're good enough to do that, it's too late. Military discipline, that'd be fine, but we don't really care about that. Okay, we're gonna stop save scumming. I don't think, without a lot of save scumming, that's not gonna work. That's what I've arrived at the conclusion at. And we'll just start up a new planet instead, because it's just very broken state with what I know. So let's go. I'm gonna load up the last turn on the last one on that planet. So we're gonna spoiler the planet even more. We're gonna actually see what the planet looks like, because I'm pretty sure if I resign, I can see what the planet looks like. So this is what we knew. Oh, and apparently we knew all the way up to the north there, right? And we're losing. We took our city back, so we're losing less than we were. But this is the people who, well, this is actually them with the score from our capital. So they're not in a state where they're really running away with the game. Anyone's guess which AI wins at this point. But what we can know is at this point it's not us. We're not recovering from this. It's a downward spiral. We've lost the capital. I think both neighbors are one tech generation ahead of us. So from here we can do a resign. So call the secretary up.
Copy that.
Resign.
Copy that.
Resign. And we cycle the turn to get that to kick in. And this will at least give me the worldwide stats. I don't think it technically gives me, might not give me line of sight on the world. Oh, this is showing only taxes. We're getting absolutely hammered, which isn't surprising. Oh, the fact they somehow coerced chasing everything into the capital. Again, not surprising. We're pretty pretty dead in that save at this point. Here we are, round 76. We lose a bunch of stuff over the end term, which isn't surprising. Although we did end up predicting the... And, oh, we resigned. Okay, so, alright, finally. Okay, so there we get to see the world. We can see the world. So this is where our capital was. The miner to the west held this territory, the territory of Golt. Olfed Nation was to the west of them. Yeah, so we can see that's the two cities. So these guys, within 4 to 5 turns, had negotiated either protectorateship or vassalization, or protectorateship. Which version of it was up to date? I think it's saying vassal is what it was saying. And then we're either at war with these guys by that point, from RNG standpoint. Our guys on the east, Altborn here, goes a lot slower to taking over Maxia. Maxia is a guardian. Where is their capital? Old Rage. The easiest way to check that this is as I click around, see if I see the SHQ. There we go. So there's their capital. Okay, so they gotta go around the Mercantiers. But they do that relatively quickly. So there's a Vernon up here, and then there's another one, Bold Ridge, down here. So these guys are basically... By the time we've secured a stable position in the middle here, because we had robots to the south and we had robots to the north, I think we succeed in dealing with all the robots to the north, and we've got the one left here in the south. By the time we've dealt with them, Fourth Head to the west has already taken the miner immediately west of us. And Altborn is at war with these guys, Maxia, and we're not really in a position to stop them from taking it. And they're so far ahead in tech that it doesn't make sense to try to come back from that. Knowing what I've known from just a little bit of testing we did at the beginning of this recording, Foreign Affairs Advisor first. If you want to do diplomacy, that's what you need to do on this map. And honestly, Foreign Affairs Advisor first isn't fast enough, because this city here is a farmer. If you're going to get an early diplomacy win versus anyone, it's them. And they're apparently losing independence within 4 to 5 turns where you can do that. So you're going to be safe scumming the first one. These guys are Guardians. You've got to train the Foreign Affairs Counselor up to do the Guardians. You can do the Guardians. In fact, these guys down here are Guardians. We're Guardians. The one we expanded to actually was Guardians. Although, to expand to these guys, you have to go through the robots. And by the time we did this, because you can go back, that was last part when we did these guys. By the time we done that, we were screwed. We were already screwed, because Altborn over here had run away with the game at that point, at least from the perspective of us. They might technically not have run so far ahead that they're unwinnable. Although they've got 21 victory points out of... They've got almost twice their win, so they've probably run away with the game. This is a situation where we let the AI roll up a victory state for themselves. So we're quite boned. Technically, we haven't actually... Well, I just resigned, but if I hadn't resigned, we technically hadn't lost yet. So we got unaligned north and south. We got Commune, Republican. If they were in Altburn situation, the Republicans were, I could probably try to, with the Foreign Affairs Counselor, try to negotiate a peace where we buy ourselves time to come back from a losing state, but it's a militarist, and it's a hostile militarist. Elitist, again, so elitist, militarist. Yeah, this was a planet that sort of RNG did not favor us winning. Honestly, we even probably had the worst territories next to us. Looking at the territories that I can see here. Robots. That guy would have been fine with nomads. Nomads next to us would have been fine. Mutineers would have been fine. Mutants would have actually been ideal because we could have fought the mutants out. Confidence, that's another miner that we can negotiate with, but by the time you get to a position where you can negotiate with these guys, they're at war with Altborn here. Nomads aren't too bad. Rotors aren't too bad. There is still surviving AI, showing you that the AI is not very good at dealing with the AIs. AIs are not very threatening. They tend not to kill you. But you have to defend their borders, and that's a problem when you're trying to do a militia-centric front, because you don't... You're playing around with a capped resource. You've got a finite number of militia. They're free-ish, cheap-ish, which makes them very effective. Except they don't have good anti-hard, although they arguably have better anti-hard than I do at this early in the game. And they upgrade very slow. At this point in the game, we've just unlocked what their upgrade would be, and I think the AI sits on Militia Tech Law only 20 turns behind you. So we'd have to wait 20 turns for them to start getting the tech upgrade. And we need to really be on the next upgrade to deal with Altborn here. And we're outnumbered by them like 4 to 1 or whatever. So it's... Yeah. So this was a planet that at least if I remember, I'll go ahead and post the last planet generated file to Reddit. I'm gonna guess that this is a planet that if you're trying to roleplay the way I wanted to, which was Fist-Militia led, isn't going to be very viable for that playstyle. On the other hand, this is probably a viable planet to play. You probably need to play more normal. You probably want to play commerce. Commerce enforcement was probably not a bad. Commerce reinforcement was not a bad choice. Commerce probably would have been a little bit better because you don't need to go to the Interior Council as early. In effect, I think the big misplay in our first attempt, our blind attempt, was going the Interior Council that early. Foreign Affairs, I think, is also probably bad. RNG on this one's just going to screw with Foreign Affairs. I think you needed to do the standard eco into military, so you get the solar panels earlier. Use the solar panels to build out your bureaucracy faster. Use the military to get better military faster. If you do that order, you're two councils ahead of where I am. 2 councils ahead of where I am probably puts you on tech parity with Altborn. Now, is that a winnable state? That would take 6 hours of gaming to test. And you're probably not running a militia primacy if you're doing that. Yeah, so in which case, the other way to do this is also, if you're trying to do diplomacy, you're probably better off doing art. Art's better for diplomacy. I don't know if I have the cards here to show. Does it give me a breakdown of what piece is affected by? Difficulty is 150 times your current relation, or minus 2 times your current relation with the target. Base minimum is 50. Made harder by Fist Powerful, made easier by Mind. So you probably want to be running Mind, Commerce. Would probably make this a lot easier, this map easier. I'm sort of shooting myself in the foot by saying we're doing Fist Militia Enforcement run on this map. And at this point, it's spoilers. I've spoiled the map for myself, so we're just going to start a new map up instead of continuing on this run, or trying to start over again on this map. But yeah, I think Fist Militia, Fist is going to make the proposed piece, and actually, what's offer protectorate modified by? 100 minus relations, modified by aggression, ideal militia size, tradition. Okay, so this one's technically not screwed with by Fist. Yeah, so Fist is hitting the proposed piece. For trying to do the one on the west, Fist doesn't, because you don't have time to do proposed piece and to offer protectorship. Although I'm pretty sure this lowers the difficulty of this one. And then, well, unification. Unification's easier if you can do client first. Getting the client before you do it. But then tradition, so that's where the Guardian bit comes in. The Guardians are harder to do because they have a worse tradition score. I mean, worse to you. It's a higher tradition score. They're harder to convert, which makes this harder. Which means you need to train your counselor more, and you don't have you're on a very harsh timer. It's probably doable with the Foreign Affairs Council first. It's probably just, it might be one of the situations where if you're playing a playstyle which is not the militia one, if you're just playing it like a standard military first, and you recognize you need to rush your neighbors down. So you crank up recruitment day 1 and make a bunch of infantry. That'll completely tank your militia score. So for what we're trying to roleplay as, doesn't work. This map, I don't think it works for what we were trying to roleplay as, but I think this is a playable map. I don't think this is a borked map. Although it's definitely one where you're on, because of the expansion of Voltborn here. And they're easy expansion, right? So they can very easily go after probably a farmer and a farmer, and then they don't have a problem with the Guardian at that point because they're big enough to deal with the Guardian. So they'll quickly expand to their openings position. But yeah. So I suppose we've got the thing open. We can look at stats. So, total troops. This is us. And we can see when we integrated the miner. And most of our forces are militia. Casualties sustained. Rapidly going up when we're at war with the other guy. And that's Old-Born Dominion. So you're not even really seeing it going up from them. We're having a massive response to the war. They're not. There's maybe a slightly higher acceleration at the end, but not really. Casualties inflicted. On the other hand, they are very effective inflicting casualties on us. And yeah, we're not doing much. And their troop count. And yeah, that's them integrating the miner next to me, I think, is in that range. Where their troops are rapidly increasing. That was our western border. Political points. So which political power is in charge? Doesn't super important. And you can see we're maintaining a very large amount of regular troops, regular militia, and had a pretty high amount of. No, we're mostly regular militia. Maybe not surprising that in the militia-led run we're militia, and it's mostly regulars. Diplomatic annex, yeah, the diplomatic annex. If you're doing foreign affairs, you gotta get it to pay dividends quicker than we did. Especially doing it at the expense of military and economics. Casualties in the roof, yeah. Yep, this is the run. And you can see everyone's infantry. And we were, yeah, at the end we were securely outnumbered by everyone. We had a very large army from militia that was effectively free, but we weren't able to get it scaling hard enough on this planet to keep up with the fact that the other majors are taking over other cities. Because your militia cap is basically a multiple of your cities. So if you don't have enough cities, you don't have enough militia cap. If you don't have enough militia cap, you're not gonna keep up, which is what we see here. Okay, so with that, I did promise that we would do a Fist-Militia-led spoiled democracy run, and let's be frank, this run was a militia run. It was Fist-led. But you know what it wasn't? At least until the end. The last turn we got it spoiled. Which is way too late. It wasn't a spoiled democracy, so we need to start over. We need to start over, and at this point, it's not fair for me to be playing on this planet because I've spoiled the planet, right? We spoiled the planet. We know what's going on this planet. Yeah, we got militia off, doable. But this planet is, and in fact, with what I know about the militia, I think I can more reliably get it on other planets. I think we don't have to rush it quite so hard. You do kind of need to rush it, because you've got to get it before you get your military. Because you're relying on high militia profile to keep it. So if your militia profile tanks because you built your military before you expanded the militia, then you're not going to be able to get these cards in, which means you're not going to be able to get the militancy back up to keep it. But yeah, we're going to start another run. If you're watching on YouTube, I think I'm going to record 2 more parts tonight. 2 real parts tonight, but they're going to be the beginning of the next run. So if you're watching on YouTube, there will be another part of Shadow Empire up today. If you're watching on Twitch, feel free to hang around. I'm going to take a short break just because I need to get my voice, because I've been talking a lot. I need to give my voice a little bit of a break between parts here. To sip some tea. And then we will be back with a new run. So until next time, I'm going to wish you all the best of luck and a good time. Catch you all in the next part and or stream, and bye for now.